All right, we are starting dividing fractions today, which is 5-7 out of your textbook. Our learning target for today is I can divide fractions and mixed numbers. And here's a little saying to help you remember how to divide fractions. Dividing fractions is easy as pie. Flip the second and multiply. Okay, so if that makes sense to you, you could write that down. A way that I remember for dividing fractions is something called keep, change, flip. And that'll make more sense as we explain how to divide fractions. Alright, we have a vocab word here, multiplicative inverse or the reciprocal. Okay, so these are basically a fraction and its opposite. So if we have, in this box it shows us that we have the fraction 3/4. Well, its multiplicative inverse or its reciprocal is just this fraction flipped. So it would be 4/3. So we just take the denominator, write it on the numerator. Numerator moves to the denominator. And the inverse property of multiplication, so this is something that we should know, is when we take the product of a number and its multiplicative inverse, so it's reciprocal, it's flipped number, it will equal 1. So if we take this 3/4 times 4/3, we would get 12/12, which is equal to 1. So that's what that box is telling us. So just a few practice problems. Find the multiplicative inverse of 2/5. All we do is flip the number. So its multiplicative inverse or its reciprocal is 5/2. Okay. For the next one, the multiplicative inverse of 2 1/3. Since it's a mixed number, we need to turn it into an improper fraction. So again, we take the denominator times the whole number, add the numerator. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7/3. Okay, so now it's multiplicative inverse, or its reciprocal, would be 3/7. So we just took the numerator and the denominator and we switched them. Okay, some for you to try on your own and then come back and check your answers. 5/6, its multiplicative inverse would be 6/5. Okay, 1/2, let's turn that into an improper fraction. So then its multiplicative inverse would be 2/3. Because if we took the 3/2 times 2/3, we would get 6/6, which is 1. Multiplicative inverse of 8. Well, 8 as a fraction is 8/1. So its multiplicative inverse or reciprocal would be 1/8. Okay, we're just taking them and flipping them. 4/3, multiplicative inverse would be 3/4. Okay, something important to know for this unit. Here's something to look at, divide by fraction. So divide by a fraction, all you do is you multiply by its multiplicative inverse or reciprocal. So if we have 7/8 divided by 3/4, we take 7/8 and we multiply it by the multiplicative inverse of 3/4, which is 7/3. So we keep the first number the same, we change to multiplication, and then we flip the second number, find that multiplicative inverse. Okay? So that's where this saying dividing fractions as easy as pie, we just flip the second and multiply. Okay? Because if we think about, here's some examples of why this makes sense. If we took 8 divided by 2, we know that that is going to give us 4. Okay? And if we take 8 times the reciprocal of 2, which is 1/2, it gives us 4. So just multiplying by the reciprocal, again here, we get the same answer. Okay, here we have the steps to divide fractions. So pause, write these steps down. We want to make sure we have these in our notebook. First, write any mixed number as an improper fraction. So any mixed numbers in the equation, change it into an improper fraction just like we did for multiplying. 2, flip the second fraction and turn the division sign to a multiplication sign. Then, just like with multiplying, multiply numerators, multiply denominators, and then simplify. Okay? And this is where the saying that I use, keep, change, flip, comes in handy. Okay, so we keep the first number the same. So for our example here, okay, 3/4 divided by 1/2, we keep the 3/4. Okay, change the division to multiplication, flip the second number, so it's now 2/1, and now we multiply. 3 times 2 is 6, 4 times 1 is 4, and then we will write this as a mixed number, which would be 1 2/4, which equals 1 1/2. Okay? Here are some for you to try on your own, and then we'll go through them together. First one, 3/4 divided by 1/4. Okay, first number stays the same. Multiplication instead of, or the division symbol turns to multiplication, and we flip the second number. Okay, so numerator and denominator just flipped. 3 times 4 equals 12 over 4 times 1. Okay, 4 goes into 12 3 times, so our answer is 3. Next one, 4/5. 4/5 divided by 8/9. Again, first number stays the same. Change the division to multiplication, flip the second number. Again, just like we did in multiplication, we had this shortcut step where we simplified these numbers. 4 can go into 4 one time, and it can go into 8 two times. 1 times 9 equals 9. 5 times 2 equals 10. That can't be simplified at all, so our answer is 9/10. 5/6 divided by 2/3. Keep the first number, change to multiplication, flip the second number. Again, I can look for shortcuts. 3 goes into both of these. It goes into 3 one time and into 6 two times. 5 times 1 is 5. 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, we have an improper fraction, so let's change it into a mixed number. 4 fits into 5 one time with 1 left over out of 4. So there's our answer. All right, now we are dividing by mixed numbers. Okay, so we have 2/3 divided by 3 1/3. So here are the steps for these that you should make sure to have written down. Again, write any mixed number as an improper fraction, flip the second fraction and turn the division to a multiplication sign, multiply numerators, multiply denominators, write in simplest form. So the 2/3 stays the same. We're still dividing. Right now I'm doing step 1, which is to turn any mixed numbers to an improper fraction. Okay? We take 3 times 3, which is 9, plus 1 is 10. So we have 10/3. Now we keep the first number the same, change to multiplication, flip our second number, and now multiply. I'm going to look for shortcuts. 3 goes into both of these one time. 2 goes into that one time and into 10 5 times. Now I can multiply. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 5 is 5. So my final answer is 1/5. Okay, here's a few for you to try on your own, and then we'll go through them together. First one here, 5 divided by 1 1/3. Let's turn the whole number into a fraction by putting it over 1. So we have 5/1 divided by 1 1/3 as a improper fraction is 4/3. Okay. Keep the first number the same, change to multiplication, flip the second number. Look, there's no shortcuts here, so now I multiply. 5 times 3 is 15. 1 times 4 is 4. 4 fits into 15 3 times, which is 3 times 4 is 12, so that gives me 3 left over out of 4. So my final answer is 3 3/4. I'm going to skip over that one since we got negatives in there. We're not going to worry about those yet. Next one, 2 1/3 divided by 5. again, we can put the 5 over 1, make a whole number into a fraction. To change this into a improper fraction, we multiply and then add. So 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7 over 3, divided by 5 over 1. Keep the first fraction the same. Change it to multiplication, flip the second number. 7 times 1 equals 7. 3 times 5 equals 15. There's no number that goes into 7 and 15, so there is our final answer. Okay, so this is where the saying, this is where I get it. Keep, change to multiplication, flip the second fraction. Keep, change, flip. Alright, here's a word problem for us to look at. In planning for a party, 5 1/4 pounds of cashews will be divided into 3 3/4 pounds bag. Okay, so you have, let's say you're handing out party bags to your guests. How many bags can be made with that amount of cashews? Well, we are taking the 5 1/4 pounds and we are dividing it into 3/4 pounds bags. Okay? Change this into an improper fraction. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 1 is 21 over 4. Change to a multiplication. Flip the second number. I'm going to do my shortcuts. 4 goes into both of these one time. And I know 3 can go into both 3 and 21. Okay. 7 times 1 is 7. 1 times 1 is 1. So I can fill 7 bags with that amount of cashews. Alright, that is it for dividing fractions. Remember, you can always go back and re-watch the video. You can look in your book at any of the examples or the online tutor videos. But go ahead and take your NICU quiz at this time.